I'm just about to start painting on some flesh tones here, so I thought that'd be a good opportunity to make a new video for anyone interested. I have some colors already mixed up. There's a darker version that's kind of a violet gray for the face, a lighter version of that, because the face is in shadow versus the hand area, which is obviously getting a lot of light. I actually have a kind of a darker version and some diluted versions. Sometimes I'll probably have to mix up a darker version here in a second for some deeper shadows. That's usually how I go about getting my transitions or gradients throughout my painting. And I guess I'll just talk as I go. I'm mixing up a darker version now. Thought I was ready, and I lied. Let's see. And at this point, when I'm doing some kind of finer details and refinement, I'm breaking out a smaller brush, making sure it's not overloaded with paint, kind of dabbing it off as I go. I always have a test sample sheet of paper to make sure it's the color that I actually want. And I got my photo reference. You'll see I have different reference here. I had started rendering the face earlier using this, and then realized that because of the scarf, I forgot that I had this reference, and I'll post these online, but you can see how the lighting changes dramatically, which is why it's always a good idea to try and, when taking photo reference, to match the lighting and garments or whatever as best as possible, so you're not stuck trying to figure stuff out in your head, or sometimes you wonder why something isn't quite looking right. That's a little too much pigment, so I'm going to dab some off on my neck and over here. There we go. And I'm going to get this area just above the scarf. It's helpful to get some of the darker areas in first before doing some of the more subtle coloring, because if you wait to get some of those deeper values in, everything will change relative to the background, so it helps to do some of this stuff early on. actually have a better sense of how the colors and values relate to each other. Of course, when coloring, be very aware of what color you're actually using, and not to just, add black. As things get darker, sometimes things are getting more chromatic before or in transition to getting darker. And sometimes having just the proper color, I guess, is opposed to just going for black. If that makes any sense. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of pigment in my brush, and I'm just doing a dry brush technique like this, and then continuously building up my layers to get the value and color that I want. So it's hard to make a big mistake like with this technique. Though mistakes do happen, they happen in small, transparent instances that are easier to fix or work around. Dip back into my kind of violet gray. Very much like drawing using a pencil, this subtle cross-hatching to get these blended transitions, which is probably why I do it, because I'm comfortable with a pencil, as many people. Constantly getting darker, as opposed to painting in opaque colors, which is not really my thing. go back into the cheek at some point with some more kind of neutral violet or pink to add a little more blush on there as well. I have some now, but as the form continues to get darker, it'll probably become too subtle. Slowly getting there. Let that chill for a second. Work on the hands. Start off with some flat washes. Oops. Time is up. But I'll do this down first. I'm adding a little water now because it looked a bit too intense. Too chromatic. It's much harder to, well, maybe it's more work to tone that down as opposed to building it up, at least in my experience. But when I start putting some real value in color, these hands are actually fairly pink and red. Some deep color going on there. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that, but it'll definitely be closer to my reference than the current wash I'm putting down now, which is fairly warm and kind of peachy. Here I can do a little wet on wet to get some soft edges. Let's try some of this darker color. Anyways, just another example of some dry brush and some transparent building up. So make sure you have proper reference. Makes things a lot easier, and take your time. Often good artwork doesn't happen overnight, and be willing to put in the time. Thanks for watching.